Hello out there, everybody in Videoland. We just have to get our radio guys going here, and we're good to go. Hey, it's good to be back in the studio. What do you know? I'm sure a lot of people are going, "Oh, is that guy back?" Jeez, I thought we lost him in the new year. No, you didn't. I'm back. I'm back, and it's going to be the same routine, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, in the beautiful studios of 4680Q Radio on Chrysler Avenue here. And we're going to hit a lot of different subjects. First show of the new year in the studio. First show of the new year was yesterday. We did Habsolutely, but Habs fans tuned into that one. If you're not a Habs fan, you wouldn't be interested probably, although we do have a good time and it is a fun show. So even if you're not a Habs fan, you can tune in. But this is the first Your City, Your Voice of the new year. I'm looking forward to a healthy and wealthy 2025. I'm not changing the format of the show, by the way. No, nothing's going to change here. Here, we comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. Let's soldier on together in 2025 to get the governance we not only want, but we deserve in the city of Niagara Falls. Cheers to all for the new year. Let's take 2025 by storm by participating in the process. Come on, everybody, let's get involved. 2 years to the next election, let's get involved. And we want to take everyone to task. And when they get off track, we want to get them back on track with their decisions. Whether the decisions are economic or they're social, they work for us, not the other way around. So before we get into the show, because we're talking about everything, we've had lots happening since I've been in the studio. I think I was in here Monday last, or maybe I wasn't because it was too cold. The heat's on now. Got a little bit of heat here. It's not really hot, but it's warm. But before we get into the show, because there's lots been happening. Geez, that New Year rang at midnight, and at 3 in the morning it started. It's crazy. But let's talk about our sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Shop. So look at this. It's a partly sunny day out here, 32 degrees, really nice. But you know what? You had to stand out in this weather, waiting for CAA to come and start your car. You wouldn't be impressed. It's chilly when you stand around outside. So that means you want to take your car into Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and get Ken Hunter to check your car over from top to bottom, from A to Z, and make sure everything's running all right. He'll throw your car on their diagnostic equipment, look for error codes, listen to your car when they take it for a test drive, check your brakes, your fluids, your heating system, and importantly, your suspension. Ken told me that a lot of times in the winter, suspensions take a beating from the icy roads and the bumping and up and down, and sometimes you slide around a corner and then hit dry pavement, and that puts stress on your suspension. You want to make sure that's right. You don't want that to break down on the highway, or you're in the snow, or anywhere else for that matter. So get your car into Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Get Ken to check it over. You'll be happy you did. Believe me, be proactive. And if you get in a wreck, don't worry about it. Ken's got a full body shop down there. He'll get your car in, fix it up, send it out in showroom condition. You're going to be happy. I'm going to be happy. Ken's going to be happy. And we always encourage everyone to support our sponsors. They support the city and they support the show. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe to the show. Yeah, go on YouTube. The show's on YouTube. Subscribe to the show, like the show, or don't like it if you don't like what I have to say, for that matter. Leave comments. We always talk about comments on the show. I love having comments. And yeah, just get involved. That's what we're asking. The show's been like that since the day it started in September of 2020. I think this show started just before the last election. When was the last election? Was that in 2020? I think it was, and started September, just before it started. So we're going 2.5 years here, and every day it's been about getting involved. Getting involved, letting city council know what you like, what you don't like. Just don't take the surveys. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, getting involved. I mean, sure, take them to task. They're using your money. They're spending your money. Somebody's got to hold them responsible. I try, but it takes more than one. One man doesn't make an army. So you got to get involved. Thank you for supporting our sponsors. Hey, so what do we got out there today? 32 degrees, partly sunny. Just not a bad day, really. And it did become more seasonable a few days ago, last week, but it's back to being really cool. But at least there's no snow. You look out there, Barrie got clobbered, the southern tier got clobbered. Niagara Falls, right in the middle of the good zone. But we are going to be in the 20s for the next few weeks for sure. And if we can get through that, hang tight. We've only got about 7 weeks to March. That's it. 7 weeks and we're good to go. We're back in business. So hang tight. We are going to get a little bit of snow. You know that. We just can't sidestep it totally. But we've done a hell of a job this year. Thank you, Mr. O and Mrs. and the weatherman, Mrs. and Mrs. Weatherman. So, what are we doing here? We're looking, we're looking forward to a rebuild in 2025. And, we're seeing a new president that's going to be inaugurated on January 20th. We're going to get rid of these last 4 years of terrible, terrible situations for 4 years. And of course, we're going to try to get rid of the terrible situation in Canada for the last 10 years. This guy's got to go, and I think he's just on his last legs right now. It's a swan song. Trudeau's going to be sent packing, and that's going to be that. And maybe on January 27th to come back in session, and maybe that jagmutt Jimmy Dollywall will stand up and actually say, "You're fired. Get the hell out of here." We'll get rid of him too, and Jimmy Dollywall. We may get rid of him while we're at it. But we're going to be here, and we're going to be vocal. We're going to be vocal. The budget's coming up, the operations budget. We're going to be vocal. As soon as I get the numbers, I'm going through them, and I'll have something to say. We're going to be vocal. We got to vote. We got to choose wisely. We have elections in 2 years in the city of Niagara Falls, and we got to choose wisely. Then 2025, the next election is in 2026. Not even 2 years away here. My expectation is that City Council is going to take all criticism to heart, make decisions that are good for tax-paying citizens in 2025. They can do better for us, and that starts with the operations budget coming down on January 21st. Their New Year's resolution should be a better Niagara through discipline, fiscal responsibility, and common sense. Let's see if they can accomplish that for the last 2 years of their 4-year term. And hopefully, some of them, this will be the last 2 years. We won't see them again. Here's what I always say. I read this somewhere and I love it. We have a great city with great people. Our problem is we have a city council who cannot or will not meet our expectations. And I love Niagara Falls. I've been here all my life. We can do better. City council can do better. You know that, right? So that's what we're expecting this year, and we're going to stay on it until they do. And I'm sure my guests, Chris Regis, Gary Wilkins, Dave Wheeler, Peter Dichter, whoever's in this studio with me talking, they're going to be looking for the same thing from City Council. And hopefully the rest of the city tunes in to the show and tunes into what's going on and wakes up. We need everybody. That's the way it is. We need everybody. We need everybody to get up there and say something and not accept $25,000 concrete ping pong tables. Come on. We got to smarten up. We got to use common sense. We have to spend our money wisely. Now, did you know the world's largest pizza made in Rome measured 13,580 square feet? Now, that's a pizza. Pizza Victoria Avenue. Maybe you can go for the record. There's a record to chase. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing. I gotta have a did you know every day. Every show I'm gonna have a did you know. That's what I'm trying to do, is have a did you know. It means absolutely nothing. It's just a did you know. Let's get the viewer comments. I had a lot of comments on my last video, mostly to do with the hub. A lot more people in this city are concerned with the hub and the happenings there than I thought. And some of them actually voiced their opinion on my video, which is great. Got to sign up. Got to subscribe. Come on, give me some comments. Dave Wheeler, thanks, Taz. I gave shout-outs about my guests over the last year. And, of course, Dave Wheeler is one of the regulars. And we'll be back for January 13th show for the next city council agenda review meeting. So Dave's going to be back in. He says, thanks, Taz. I gave him a shout out, and he deserves it. Dave's in here with me. He's plugging away. All my guests that I mentioned on Monday deserve accolades for coming in the studio and sharing their information with me, their thoughts with me, and getting it out to you. At 881 Slick, happy birthday, Paul. Thank you for your birthday wishes. Thank you for the birthday wishes, Gary. Yeah, thank you for the birthday wishes. It was my birthday last Sunday, December 29th, and a lot of people were sending me good wishes. Thank you very much. I appreciate every one of the thoughts. And yeah, I got a year older and a year older, and it never stops. It never stops. Well, I guess you got to be lucky. You got to, like the alternative would be not getting a year older. And a lot of my friends never made it to my age. So, I'm happy to be here. At Penny Brookify, I like your shout outs. Yes, Ringo Beam for mayor. He could also be a reporter. He's the one who broke the whale moving story. There you go, John Ringo Beam. I call him JRB. You have at least one vote if you run for mayor next election. Put it in the bank. Well, you should have 2 votes. I'd vote for you. I know Johnny. He knows a lot of stuff. Okay. He knows a lot of stuff. Put it in the bank. Put that one in the bank. It looks like you got a vote, Johnny. JRB, good way to start it. Mark an X down beside that one. At the Iceman 69, Ken Todd. Okay, so what that meant was I was wondering who the CEO was or CAO was before the Penguin, Jason Burgess. And I couldn't remember. And finally I did when I was sitting here, but the Iceman made sure that I was tuned in to the right person, and that was Ken Todd. He was CAO for 12 years before the Penguin came on the scene. I thank everyone for the comments. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'm glad some people are getting involved. We need more. Share the video with your friends. Don't forget, share the video with your friends. Get them to subscribe. The more the merrier. The more that subscribes, the more this video gets put out there in the cyber world. And the more people see it, the more people wake up. The more awake people we have, the better off the city will be. So you want the governance you deserve? Get the word out, wake people up, and get out and vote. I know I'm going to be talking a lot about getting out and voting this year because we're not that far from the next election. And 27% turnout just doesn't cut it when you get down to an election. You want the government that you deserve? Then you got to get out and vote. So not to be outdone by the rest of the free world, Niagara Falls has its own New Year's surprise. And that is the torching of the old Empire building on Erie Avenue. Burned right to a shell. Now it's laying in heaps, a victim of the wrecking ball. So, the old Empire building on that old piece of junk, decrepit building, boarded up, been vacant for 30 or 40 years. People living in it, transients, starting fires in there and that. And nobody knows how it started. They looked at it and then tore it down in a day. It's gone. It's gone. Tore it down in a day. Now, the headline in the review was, historic building goes up in flames. And I had a really big discussion, let's call it, about whether this building is historic. And I maintain no. It was an old, decrepit piece of junk building. And all the heritage and historic people, every building is historic if it's over 20 years old. Nothing historic happened there. It wasn't the Underground Railway. The biggest thing it did was have a bank in it when it was built in 1914. That's it, the Royal Bank. And somebody said it was the first Royal Bank in Niagara Falls. Whoop-de-doo. Here's the historic building. You want to preserve one and fight for it. These guys got to pick their battles here about historic buildings. Now, the building that is sitting on, is that Mike Lucid? There's some guy riding around, looks like Mike Lucid. The one on Bridge and Zimmerman was Clifton Avenue before it was called Zimmerman Avenue. That one there on Bridge and Zimmerman is historic. 1855 it was built, and it was bank, the first bank in Niagara Falls, owned by Samuel Zimmerman, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pat Sirianni or John Ringo Beam or one of you other history buffs. And yeah, that's historic. The cop shop, the old cop shop down on Zimmerman and Park. That's historic. That's historic. Marilyn Monroe was there filming a movie. But this building here, no, it's nothing. It was just a nothing building, over 100 years old. That's the only thing. It's old. Now, if we wanted to save every building that was a bank as historic in this city, do you know how many places we'd have to do? You know how many places we'd have to save? Holy crap. I mean, it's ridiculous how many banks that were there. So Johnny Rocco's was a bank. Hakeem Optical was a bank. At the corner of Center Street and Victoria Avenue were all banks. Main and Ferry were all banks. 4 other banks on Queen Street. Are they historical because they housed banks at one time? No. This building was a hub for transients, homeless, if you will. Nobody wants to use that word anymore. Homeless. Drug users, and it was an eyesore. It was dangerous. It was dilapidated. It was decrepit. And nobody knows who lit this place up like a Roman candle on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, whenever it caught fire there. All points lead to most likely a homeless person seeking shelter from the cold, lighting a fire with the fire getting out of control. And I mean, you come downtown and what do you see? Homeless people standing out in the cold, need a place to go, an old shuttered building. It all adds up. But of course, nobody knows how it caught fire. But there's no electrical in there. There's nothing in there to catch it on fire. There's no lightning that night. So what's going to catch it on fire? It has to be set. So take your pick, either an arsonist for insurance money or whatever, or a homeless. Take your pick. But Niagara Falls is known to suffer from an insert nationality here lightning. It's been called a lot of different kinds of lightning, but you just insert the nationality you want, and that's what it's called. And there's been a lot of buildings in this city catching fire and burning for no real reason, but they are torn down and used for other things. And when they're vacant and you have an absentee landlord and nobody's taking care of them, and the city has no bite, then that's what you get, right? I mean, if the Niagara Falls Memorial Arena wasn't historical and that was torn down, then what other building is? I mean, it's a memorial arena, memorial to vets. We spent our childhoods there. We had city championships, Memorial Cup champions there. We had everything in that arena. They let it go to hell and just tore it down because it was unsafe, which is what should have happened to it after it was let go for so long. But if that's not a historical building, there's no friggin' way the Empire Building was. So I don't care what anybody says. You can argue with me to the death, but that's my opinion, and that's it. And if you don't agree with me, well, it's gone. It's gone. So, a lot of people who love these historical buildings and heritage sites and everything else, they talk a lot, but when it comes down to it, they want taxpayers to fix it up and pay for it. No, we're not. No developers will. Taxpayers shouldn't have to. So you want it fixed up and restored? Go out and raise the money. Raise a few million. Then send guys in there to fix it and restore it. How about that? You want it? You got it. You got to step up to the plate. That's all there is to it. So that's about all I have to say about that. It's gone now, and I'm looking to probably something for student housing in there. We know the University of Niagara Falls is expecting 2,000 to 5,000 people. We're about 3 years late with that one. They're supposed to be here in September. And it was so much of a concern. Lori Lococo, Councilor Lococo, got up. So where are we going to put these people? There's nowhere for them to live. 2,000 people, and with these diploma mills, they get these student visas and bring over their whole family. So it could be more than 2,000, and there's nowhere for them to live. That was their concern. Well, we only got about 50 people. That's all. I go down there, and there's maybe 30 or 50 people hanging around. No 2,000, no 3,000. This is the friggin' eclipse all over again from City Hall, from the master of disaster there, the big show. But anyway, there's a lot of these decrepit eyesores in the town, and we got to get rid of them. And you know what? That one burned. The one next door to it burned. Another one will burn. Another one will burn. They'll burn. They'll burn, baby, burn. And eventually we'll get rid of them all. But you clear them out and put up a parking lot, and it looks a lot better. I'll tell you that. Except for the meteor crater, they did it to that and they let it go. Got to do something over here. These guys, I don't know, man. I don't know this city. A lot of okays on the planning end of it, but not a lot of action. Not a lot of action. And really, city council's got to take this, and they got to have a bylaw or something. They got to send these guys, out of town owners, the ultimatum, drawing a red line in the sand. I mean, either take them down or fix them up. If they don't make a move by a given date, we call in that wrecking company that seems to be on standby. They were there in about an hour. Building's on fire. As soon as it goes out, send down the excavator. They were there. I was there. I drove down that way yesterday, and man, they had that building coming down. And what was it, like 24 hours? I mean, I think these guys have a standing contract, and they park the excavator at City Hall. Then they're just dispatched by the Penguin. But yeah, they seem to be the company that does them all, and they're Johnny on the spot. They probably have one excavator, and that's all they do is knock down old buildings. But yeah, thing is, they should knock them down, and you know why? Because they're dangerous. They're dangerous. Oh, I feel like Joe Biden now. I'm whispering into the microphone. They're dangerous. That's the bottom line. They're dangerous. These buildings fall in, they collapse. People get in them. People get hurt, and the firemen have to go out there and deal with these crap buildings. And I mean, basically, what they can do is just sit around and watch them burn right to the ground and pour water on them, and that's it. They're watching them because there's no way anybody's going in there to save anything. They're all junk anyway. But get the city, have some force, and get these things taken down before firefighters have to go to the fire and possibly get injured. Why put anybody in harm's way for these junky old buildings? They've got to come down with that. And like I say, anybody wants these old allegedly historic buildings saved? Hey, I'm sure City Hall would entertain you dropping a couple $1 million on the table and saying, fix it. Yeah. So if you want them, get off your wallets, toss in a few thousand each, and have them restored. Have fundraisers. And hopefully they don't burn down before you get your money together to fix them. Until then, it's the wrecking ball. And City Hall turning a blind eye is dumb. It could even be criminal. I mean, it's been a mess for a long time, that Empire building. Nobody's doing anything about it. So council's got to do their job and really get rid of these buildings. And they can't use some mamby-pamby fines and fees and everything else they've been suggesting. They got to cure with a wrecking ball. Some teeth in their bylaws and stuff. So that was a big news yesterday. I talked a lot about that on Facebook with people yelling at me and telling me they are historical and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. Sure. If they're that historical and you're that worried about them, cough up some dough. That's my challenge. Otherwise, send in the 24-hour wrecking ball. So now, let's get to my second sponsor, Victoria Avenue Pete's Pizza. Now, if you know what I had from there the other day? I had a calzone, and I'm going to tell you, this thing was really good. I think I had pepperoni, hot peppers, and mushrooms. You get 3 items in it. The thing was huge. I cut it in quarters, and I ate a quarter of it. It's very big, but somebody with a big appetite might be able to chug it all down. I certainly couldn't. And it was very, very good. The crust is that crust they use for the pizza. The Mancini family recipe, and the sauce is fantastic. The dipping sauce, it's great. You get a dipping sauce on the side. They might put a little bit inside, but the dipping sauce is on the side. And the neat thing about that is you get the taster sauce. And man, it's really good. It's better than it is when it's mixed in with everything on the pizza. Just having it as a dipping sauce with like nice oregano in it and everything. Yeah, very tasty. Yeah, it was really good. They have pizzas. I mean, their 40-year anniversary special is over, I think. I don't know. Maybe Mike's continuing it on. You have to give him a call at 905-374-2222. But they have a full menu. Great wings, great pizza. I'm slowly getting through their menu. They have a fold out with pages of items: poutine, steak and cheese poutine, subs, a lot of stuff. So I am slowly getting to a lot of it, but just fantastic. Just fantastic. Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Give them a call today, 905-374-2222, or Pete'sPizzaVictoria.ca. You can order right online, and I imagine you can do skip and everything else. But yeah, give it a shot. Go to Restaurant Reviews Niagara and give us a review. See what you think of Pete's Pizza. I like it. I like it, and I'm pretty bad with pizza. I was just at a place last week, and I gave it a 5.1. And people were yelling at me because it's one of the most favorite places in this area, and they were yelling at me about my score. But hey, I tell it like it is. I tell it like it is. And Pete's Pizza is right up there with the best in the city. Okay, thank you for supporting our sponsors. Now, you want to have a good laugh, everybody? I could tell you a joke, and you'd probably have a good laugh out of it. But no, I'm not going to tell you a joke. I'm going to show you. I'm going to point you to a joke. And that is the new asset management survey on the Let's Talk City website. Seriously, folks, these people just don't give a rat's ass about the people of Niagara Falls, and they're total morons. What can I tell you? So I go to this survey about asset management and what the taxpaying citizens want to see for the city. So I go in there, and the very first question, check this out. Now, we're talking infrastructure, roads, asset management. We have assets in the city, buildings, that kind of thing. What's the very first question? The very first question is thinking about the services of the city assets, like a restaurant. Which of the following best describes how you would prefer to receive these? Does the city own a restaurant? What the hell does this have to do with anything? Number one, white tablecloth, fine dining, restaurant style of service. And then they got like $3 signs. Family dinner service. Then they got $2 signs. Or fast food drive-through restaurant service, and they got $1 sign. What the hell does this have to do with fixing roads? I mean, this is the stupidest thing. See, I get to these surveys, and I get to the first question, and then I go crazy. Then I get mad. I start yelling and screaming at the survey on the computer, and Liz goes, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" I can't take it. I can't take it. I'm going to have a heart attack. What kind of this isn't a, it just drives me crazy. I just don't get it. I don't get it. That was it for me. I got to the first question. And that's how I usually do with these surveys. I get to the first question, then check out. I tap out. I've had enough. I tap out. And you can see the survey's going one way because they have $3 signs and white tablecloth fine dining restaurant style. I mean, what the hell? If this isn't leading you to something, then you're totally oblivious to what this survey is about. And as you go through the questions, it's going one way. And that was, if you want good services, you got to pay more taxes. It's all leading to upping your taxes if you want good service. They want to raise your taxes. Now just give you this useless survey to convince you it's for your own good. It's for your own good. Listen, The scariest people are in the world are government people when they come to your house and say, "I'm here to help you." Yeah, it's for get the hell out of here. Do these people don't get it? They don't get it. We pay enough taxes as it is. You are a bunch of spendthrifts who cannot control a budget, and you don't have any idea of how to run a budget. No, we don't want tax increases. And yes, we want good roads, a safe city, clean water, and a clean city. And there's enough money there to accomplish all this if you would quit wasting our money on nonsense like $25,000 concrete ping pong tables. Oh, there's a box for comments after you finish this useless survey. There should be only one comment left by everybody. Quit wasting our money. Listen, there's a lot of money floating around. I figure close to $80 million. There's no need for Niagara Falls to have bad roads, a dirty city, bad water, or out of control crime. When you waste money on crap, when you cannot say no to these crazy schemes, like a $13 million trail that we don't need, $17 million white elephant called the exchange, you're doomed as a city. We don't have a revenue problem. We have lots of money to do everything without raising taxes. A dime. We don't have to raise them a dime. What we need is a council that will take control of staff, tell them in no uncertain manner, no, we're not raising taxes. And you're going to have to live within your means. And don't give me this fear mongering. Oh, the only way we can do it is to cut services. Baloney. Baloney. You just saw them trying to cut $250,000 off the budget by taking the dispatch for the fire department and sending it to another city, St. Catharines, where they're experts in dispatch. No, they voted that down, city council. You just saw this $13 million new trail. Do we need a new trail in this town? No. We got the Millennium Trail we just spent millions on. We've got the Parks Commission. They have 32 miles of trails. We have the Bruce Trail. We have trails all over this city. You can walk on the sidewalks. You can walk in the cemetery. You can walk at Oaks Park. You can walk at the Gale Center. Probably the McBain Center has a track in it as well. I don't know. Lots of places to walk. You don't need to spend 13 million taxpayer dollars on this nonsense. So don't give me any bullshit. So, pardon me. Excuse me. I didn't mean to say that. Don't give me any baloney, but I just get too upset. Don't give me any baloney, fear-mongering nonsense about we have to cut services. No, we don't. And anybody who falls for that is a sucker. Listen, there should be a bylaw that forces city council to come in with a balanced budget every year. They cannot spend more than they take in. Our revenue goes up every year because we have more houses being built, more taxes being paid. We should not allow city council to spend more than they have. That should be a law. And that's it. I mean, that's it. Anyway, do the survey, have a laugh. If this one piece of garbage that probably cost thousands to put together, not to mention the bevy of public meetings planned that are also going to cost thousands to put on. If that interests you, check it out. Comments are welcome on the video. You think I'm out of line? Leave a comment on the video. Leave a comment on the video when I post it. It'll be up there by 3 o'clock this afternoon. Leave a comment. Message me. Paul Lemire on Facebook. Go to the video, Paul K. Lemire on YouTube. My video channel has all these Your City, Your Voice videos. Check it out. Leave comments. And hey, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, maybe I'm way off track. Maybe I'm wacky. Hey, that's fine too. I want to know. Because believe me, go look at the survey and see what you think. You can see that's a one-way deal. Just like all the other ones. The other ones, they said, what makes you proud to live in Niagara Falls? I sat there. That's the very first question. I sat there and I tapped out. Not much. Now, if they said, what makes you proud of the Parks Commission to be in Niagara Falls, I could answer that. Lots of nice stuff down there. Beautiful parkways, beautiful trees. Niagara Falls itself, the Parks Commission does a wonderful job down there. Stuff, beautiful. But the city of Niagara Falls, I look around right where I'm sitting in the studio, Queen Street, and I've got something to be proud about. I used to tell people about Niagara Falls. Oh, what a great city. Clean, beautiful. Not anymore. Not anymore. I mean, there's not a lot to brag about here. We've regressed. The city's gotten worse in the last 4 years. Well, maybe the last 12 years. It hasn't gotten better. Take a look around. Think I'm making it up. Take a drive around. Take a look around. I walked down Park Street just from the back parking lot to hear there's 3 bags of garbage on the sitting there, junk all over the roads. Just ridiculous. Anyway, let's get off the city stuff because it just gives me agita. I get agita talking about this, believe me. Yeah. Then I got to go home and have a pizza. This pizza settles me down. So, we got the new year here. And what's up with all these plane crashes? 2024 is being called the worst year for aviation since 2018. There have been 3 or 4 crashes in just the last few weeks. The wars don't help. I mean, the one in Azerbaijan, and Dave Wheeler always corrects me when I say that, Azerbaijan. I think I got it right this time, Dave. Suspected to be a result of some Russian anti-aircraft fire. Russia, they've shot down passenger planes before, so this wouldn't be out of question. There were 3 separate incidents last week aboard a South Korean, a Canadian, and an Azerbaijani airline. These incidents have stirred up anxieties during the holiday travel period. And we're still in it, by the way. In South Korea, a Boeing jet crash landed in Muanya, killing 179 people. The deadliest aviation disaster in the country since 1997. In a video, the jet could be seen skidding down the runway on its belly, landing gear up, hitting a block wall, exploding into flames. The bird strike is being looked at as a possible cause. But even at that, the guy's coming in for a landing. Where's the landing gear? Oh, the bird strike caused the hydraulic failure. It doesn't matter. You can make these things drop down the landing gear by gravity. You can make them drop down by gravity. They just fall. They just free fall and lock into place. So I don't understand why those things didn't go down. Unless the pilots were so overwhelmed by what was going on, they forgot to hit the landing gear lever. It's a lever you pull down and the landing gear go down, but you can also drop them by gravity. And that crash came after 38 people were killed on Christmas Day when an Azerbaijani Airlines flight crashed after entering Russian airspace in Grozny, Chechnya. It was unconfirmed what caused the accident, but Russia is accused of shooting it down accidentally, which would not be something out of the ordinary. They've done it before. On Saturday night, an Air Canada Express flight reported that a flight operated by PAL Airlines carrying 73 passengers experienced a suspected landing gear issue after arriving in Halifax. And yesterday, a plane crashed into a big warehouse kind of building in Fullerton, California. And that's pretty weird. The airport's right next to that building, and they couldn't make the airport. They crashed right into the middle of the building. I mean, this isn't an international airport. It's, they have the smaller planes than that. But still, there's another one out of nowhere just crashing into somewhere. So with all the terrorist stuff going on right now, anything and everything's being looked into. So they're looking to see if maybe this was accidentally on purpose in Fullerton, California, after Vegas and New Orleans over the weekend. So it's getting pretty wild out there, everybody. These accidents happen in quick succession. Flying is still the safest way to go. We know that. We know flying is still safe. You're safer on a plane going to any kind of tropical destination, going anywhere, than you are driving to the airport. And if you've been on the QEW to the airport, you'll know what I'm talking about. That drives me crazy. That drive, the actual flight doesn't drive me crazy. But when you start seeing things like this happen, New Orleans, Vegas, Fullerton, if you believe in coincidence, then yeah. But I don't believe in coincidence. There's something that connects some of these things. I don't know if Fullerton's anything. I haven't heard any more about that one, but there's something that's connecting all these things, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, that's what people say. Like it's terrorism. What's the bigger event that's going to happen? Well, we don't know. We don't know. But all these little things add up. And one thing you do know is that you've got 1,000 ISIS or more ISIS in the United States, and they are out to get Americans and Trump because he killed Soleimani. Iran's behind a lot of it. So you don't know what they're going to pull. It's funny. No, it's not funny, but strange. And the authorities, the FBI, CIA, any kind of intelligence, Mossad, whoever, they have to get it right 100% of the time. 100%. They got to be right on the ball and stop everything. Whereas a terrorist or somebody who would do anything evil has to only get it right once. That's it. You have to get it right one time. And the guy in Butler, Pennsylvania got it right. He just missed by a stroke of luck, by the hand of God. Trump just turned his head at that second, or else he'd be a dead man. And then you had the guy in the golf course who is linked to these other guys. He was a recruiter for soldiers for the Ukraine. Remember that? Yeah, so was the other guy. The guy from in the Tesla was also recruiting soldiers for the Ukraine. And they trained at Fort Bragg. And the guy who trained them, the same guy, even though they may not have been in there at the same time, the same guy who trained them was a big anti-Trump guy. There's a lot of little coincidences that are locking up. And everybody says, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, they said that when we were talking about COVID. They said that when we were talking about the vaccine. We said that when they were talking about Kennedy. We said that when they were talking about anything. Today's conspiracy theory is tomorrow's truth and tomorrow's history. So the guy in New Orleans mowed down a crowd of people on Bourbon Street, 3 a.m, with a pickup truck, 10 dead, 30 injured, 2 cops shot. An incendiary device also found. Person's name, I can't pronounce it, something, something. But he was an American citizen, ex-military, training at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And like I said, in a strange coincidence, the Cybertruck exploding in Vegas, that driver also served at Fort Bragg. And at one point served under the same commander. And this isn't just this isn't just like these aren't isolated incidents, even though you think they are. But there's a lot of coincidence between these little webs that all hook everybody together. In 2021, FBI Army counterintelligence arrested an Army soldier in Fort Stewart after he plotted to blow up New York's 9/11 memorial and tried to provide support for ISIS. I mean, these guys are not unheard of in the U.S. military. The programmed ISIS sympathizers. In 2009, Nidal Malik Hussain was also an active duty Army when he killed 13 people in a in a mass shooting at Fort Hood in Texas. So slowly, These things are being tied together, and there's tons of threats. Thousands of ISIS terrorists in the U.S. They've infiltrated through the southern or northern border. We know Iran has a reward for killing Trump because of the death of Soleimani. These people are in the country armed, and there's nuclear material missing. Whether you want to believe it or not, sleeper cells are a reality. We saw that in September of 2001, 9/11. And the left wing and deep state do not want Trump to reach Inauguration Day. You pull everything together, put it all together, and it points to a major event before January 20th. And I don't care what anybody says, you cannot deny the facts. And just remember, the authorities have to get it right 100% of the time. They got to track them down, track their activities, look to clues as to what they're going to do. So we've had two terrorists, actually, at least two or three maybe terrorist attacks. There was a huge shooting in New York City, shot up a nightclub. I don't know how many killed, 20 killed or something. There's been a lot of incidents lately. I mean, the first 2 days of 2025 have been a nightmare already. And I mean, these are very dangerous times. You gotta have your head on a swivel, be aware, be vigilant, report anything suspicious to authorities. So we have Monday, January 6th coming up. It's a big day. That's the day Kamala Harris, who is still vice president, even though you haven't heard a peep out of her since the election. She threw her tail between her legs and ran away. But she has to certify the election. And now we have a couple rhinos trying to stop the what the hell are they doing there? I just read it this morning. But anyway, they're throwing a monkey wrench into it all. And if they don't, they have to. The heck do they have to do? They have to pass something. Oh no, they got to approve Mike Johnson as the speaker. And there's a couple people who are not willing to go that route. So if they don't approve a speaker today, they're doing it today, then they can't certify the election until there's a Speaker of the House. So that'll put off the vote on Monday. It's crazy. It's crazy. So that's a big day on Monday, and today's a big vote. Now, the actual inauguration is scheduled for noon on January 20th at the Capitol building, but that venue may change as more threats come in, and it may be impossible to protect Trump out in the open. Stay tuned for this as well. Somebody was driving down the sidewalk in Washington, and now they've stretched out the perimeter around the Capitol building and White House, and they've set up more fences and everything else. So they're on high alert there because there's so many threats against something's going to happen on January 20th. Or before. So it's getting pretty wild out there. We live in a crazy world, and Canada's no safer or better without elected officials being called out and probably thrown out. Trudeau is going to be forced to call an election. He's going to be forced to resign. Either way, in October, he's going to be told, "You're fired. Now get the hell out of here." Colonel Ford is also looking for a spring election. 2025 is going to be an interesting year, to say the least. We're only 3 days in chaos rules. It's not going to get any better, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a very, very wacky year. People are saying, like, don't go where there's large crowds. Stay away from large crowds. Big events with a lot of people, stay away from them. And you know what? I started doing that about 20 years ago. I do not like large crowds. I do not like big events. And I refuse to go to them. Crowded bars, anything. There's just too many wacky people out there today for my liking. And if you do go, head on a swivel, watch what you're doing, and be safe. That's all I can tell you. Okay, let's get over to my third sponsor, Hamel Machine Shop. Now, Hamel Machine Shop is a place where you go if you have anything metal that breaks. Yeah, they're going to fix it for you. They can't fix it, they'll re-engineer it. They have a fully equipped machine shop. They can do anything there. And machine shops are essential to industry, but they're also essential to homeowners. You want something done with metal, custom fabrication work. They have laser cutters, they have 3D printers, they have it all. If you need something made or fixed, Hamel Machine Shop is the place to go. And I know a lot of the cities in that and take their stuff there. Sammy runs over a rock with a lawnmower and blows the side out of the deck on the lawnmower. Guess what happens? They don't go buy another $3,000 riding mower deck. No, what they do is they take the Hamel, they patch it up, make sure it's smooth as silk, and they put it back in service. That's the way you do it. Hamel Machine Shop, they take care of all kinds of machine work. Anything you could think of, they're going to be able to do for you, including re-engineering parts. Got an old car, you need a part, you can't find it? Hey, guess what? Take the part you broke, take it down there, they fix it up for you. So, I mean, that's the place you want to go. Hamel Machine Shop, hamelmachine.ca. Go check out the website, see what they do. I've been in a situation where I need things to be done, and I don't know where to take them. Well, now I do. Hamel Machine Shop. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going for all my fabricating, custom stuff, anything to do with metal. Hamel Machine Shop. Thank you for supporting our sponsors. Support Hamel. And we're going to get Bob Benner in here, the owner, just to tell us a little bit more about Hamel. They've been around the city since 1948. They're historic. So they know what they're doing, and they do a great job doing it. Support our sponsors. They support us. We got to get Bob in here to give us a little speech on Hamel Machine Shop. Okay, now while the aviation industry is having its problems, New York City is having their problems with their subways. And again, Sanctuary City, New York City, so many immigrants in New York City now that the mayor's actually had to say, stop sending them here. We can't take any more. Crime rates have shot up. Illegals have taken over the subways and homeless. And last week we saw one illegal with criminal record set a homeless woman on fire on the subway, burning her to death beyond recognition. And it reminds me of the guy in the Tesla truck. Now, like you talk about that and how goofy that is. We're going to get back to the subway in a second, but he drove up the driveway to Trump Tower. Within 17 seconds, he shot himself in the head and blew up the truck. Blew up the Cybertruck. Everything was burnt beyond recognition, the guns he had and everything. And from this huge explosion and fire, they have his ID. They can't even tell who he is because he's burnt beyond recognition. So we really don't know who the hell was in that truck. But there's ID there that's saying it was this guy who was in the army. Now, the whole truck blew up. It burnt guns beyond recognition. But these two pieces of paper survived it. Does it sound familiar? Does it sound like these passports of all these guys from the airplanes and all that, where they blew up, exploded, the Twin Towers came down, but a passport was pristine? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, back to the subways. Thought I'd throw that in there because that's another weird thing about it. So the subway system says it's lost $750 million because of violence. People are afraid to ride the system anymore. It's so bad, the Guardian Angels, a group Curtis Sliwa started in 1979 to help deal with the out-of-control crime back in the days of Ed Koch being mayor, they've started patrolling the subways again. And that's been the first time they've been doing that since 2025. That's when Biden was elected, remember? And opened the borders and called to defund the police. And New York was declared a sanctuary city again. So, yeah, there's a problem. There's a problem there. And millions of illegals migrated from the southern border to New York City, causing Mayor Adams to declare a state of emergency as the illegals are making crime epidemic in the city. They're straining the city's resources, and the city just can't keep up anymore. If there's a crime under $1,000, they don't even respond. The police, they don't even respond. They don't even enforce the laws. Even if they do, the weak courts won't send these people to jail. They let them off. And crimes under 1,000, not even considered a crime. And when you allow this to happen, that's the scenario you see in New York City, out of control, out of control. And January 20th can't come soon enough. They're going to start getting rid of these illegals. And we got to do that in Canada. There's 1.2 million here that are supposed to leave this year. Their visas are up. Their papers done. Let's see if they can find them first and then get rid of them second. I doubt it. That's not Trudeau's MO. He just doesn't operate like that. The world's gone nuts, everybody. It's gone nuts. So as we enter the new year, I know it's crazy. I am watching everything now. I don't take anything for granted, man. I walk down the street and I worry about getting knifed. Who the hell knows who's wandering around these days? It's way, way too many people wandering around. And nobody knows who they are. Nobody knows if they're strung out. Nobody knows if they're mental cases. Nobody knows. And these people just attack for no reason. Look at that poor guy walking his dog on Kayla Road. Out there with his dogs, and he gets stabbed by this maniac. Hey, you laugh. You laugh at me. But it does happen. Be vigilant. Be aware. Nobody ever worries about it till it happens to them. And it's too late. So all the best to my listeners and viewers for the new year. I'm sure I've made you feel great. I look forward to your comments and views on local or world events. Check out the video, comment on it, subscribe to the video. Let's go. Let's wake everybody up. Things have to get straightened out. We can't keep going on like this. And stay tuned to the show because the budget meetings are scheduled, and the first meeting scheduled for January the 14th. So I'll be doing an agenda review on Monday, January 13th. That's just the city council meeting. Starts at 4. And Dave Wheeler should be in with me. The operation budget meeting is a special meeting. It's scheduled for Tuesday, January 21st. And Dave and I will be in the studio reviewing the operations budget for 2025 on the January 20th show, a day before the meeting, because we like to get the video out there and then you have a day to look at it and figure it all out before you watch the show on Tuesday at 4. So don't miss these important shows. You know why? You know what these spendthrifts are doing with your money. They didn't show any restraint with the capital budget. No, nobody out of 9 people, 8 aldermen and a mayor, 1 person had questions and tried to save taxpayers $1.50, $1.5 million. 1 out of 9. Not one question, nothing. 382 pages, thousands of entries, expenditures. Not one was questioned. So, if they didn't show any restraint then, what are we going to be looking at for our operations budget? And of course, we will get the final number for your tax increase this year. And I don't think it's going to be pretty for the 3rd year in a row here. You had 4.9, 7.9, and they're talking 4 or 5 this year. So that'll be 18% in 3 years, compounded. Chew on that on the weekend, and then tune in and see what we have to say about it on that Monday the 13th, and of course Monday the 20th. We're going back to back. See you Monday, everybody. Have a great weekend. Support our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Shop. They support the city. They support the show. So we ask you to support them. Subscribe to the video. like the video or don't like it. Thumbs down if you don't like it. Leave comments. We'll get them on the air and continue to tune in as we go through January with all the budgetary stuff and the rest of the year with planning matters and everything else. And of course, we talk about everything in between, and I give you my opinion. You may not agree, and that's fine, but at least you're listening and getting involved. That's what I want from everybody. That's what this show is all about. Your city, your voice. My name is Paul Calabir. This is 4680Q Radio broadcasting live to you. And it broadcasts all day, all great music and more talk shows. Pat Porter's on, The Viz is on, Brandy's on, Sebastian's on. Dave Alexander's got the sports show. We have absolutely lots to listen to, lots of great music. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday with Manic Monday, and we'll see what happens with all these stories over the weekend. Take care. Have a good one. We will see you Monday at noon sharp. Take care.